Obviously, the environment down here is all salt. The ceiling's salt, the floor's salt, the walls are salt, and to an extent, the air is salt. And you breathe that in, and you can constantly taste the salt.
And I believe we are live on the internet. Hello, everyone. How's everyone?
Hi. Okay. I thought you were doing the intro. I thought this was like your thing.
No, yeah, I know. I was just like,
Okay.
we're going right into it. We're doing it
Okay.
live. But
As
with
usual.
it, this is the first ever stream of Pass the Salt in a podcast format. For those who do not know, me and Taylor here have some history when it comes to, being on podcasts together. He was the primary host for Power Up Podcast over on affiliatecultureofgaming.com, and we thought we might as well take that experience and translate it to Pass the Salt to allow a little bit more freedom when it comes to other content. But with it, just getting into some of the housekeeping items, we do always ask that you do please subscribe and hit that bell so you make sure you get that notification live when we are streaming, as well as when a video is uploaded and published, because we want to try to get that more.
Okay.
And apparently we're back live again.
Yes. Okay.
Hold on, give me 1 second. For those who don't know, I am Matthew Garcia. I help create content here on Tech for Thought, and I do also have with me.
I am Taylor Evans. I also we are the two co-founders of Ted for Thought, so we might as well just say that and
Yeah.
everything. So I used to do the primary writing of the scripts until we switched it to just kind of writing our own individual videos and whatnot lately for Ted for Thought, stuff like that. And then, as previously mentioned, I have been the host for like 158 some odd episodes of Culture of Gaming's Power Up podcast the past 3 years and everything, which was primarily focused just about gaming. We tried straying a little bit into like tech and other genres over the years, just a little bit, but it was primarily a gaming focused podcast. And then, so yeah, over here for Tech for Thought, you might have seen the previously posted Pass the Salt videos, and we've decided to kind of go away with those videos.
Yeah,
And just kind of convert Pass the Salt into a news podcast, because Matt and I kind of realized we don't really get the chance to like bounce news off each other all that much anymore. So
No.
might as well be an opportunity to do it now that the Power Up podcast isn't really a thing anymore, and the site has been
currently on
kind of-
hiatus.
yeah, the site is Culture of Gaming, our affiliate gaming website, has kind of been on a bit of a hiatus, as Matt said, but I have recently taken over running it, so I hope to get that up and running again, also back to where it once was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So if you are ever looking for gaming news, content, and that type of stuff, make sure to go over to our affiliate there, cultureofgaming.com, for all that good stuff, latest gaming news, reviews, opinion pieces, all the fun jazz. With it,
Oh, yeah, pull up there.
yeah, like I said, I got a nice overlay so we can look at stuff. Yeah, I got a vision for this podcast.
All right,
I'm-
nice.
And it's like 80% of the way there. I still have like a
Nice, okay.
couple overlays to make, or more specifically, have our man make that.
But I think we have enough for a pilot episode going well
Yeah,
so far. So,
Enough for a pilot to keep it rolling. So, with it right now, just covering some of the biggest, stuff going over again. Make sure to subscribe. Help us get to that 100 subscriber mark for that custom URL. We do have a Twitter as well that we are trying to use more. We just used it when we were going live, hopefully. So that should
on the
have,
screen.
yeah, should be right there. Tech_4_thought. So if you want to see us just goofing around a little bit, as well as upcoming projects and things, and when things go live, perfect place to get that information. We are also going to set up an Instagram so we can, post some projects that we're working on, and hopefully some other cool tech things and whatnot. So yeah, that will be developing in the future. As stated before, Culture of Gaming is our affiliate when it comes to that gaming stuff as well, allowing us to have a little bit more outreach. Taylor's taking over that, so I can't wait to see what it develops into.
Well, thank you.
Hey, anytime. But with that, let's dive into our first topic here for the day, which is Windows 11. Definitely the biggest, I would say, definitely the biggest news announcement this week, I'd say, in terms of
Yeah, so what was that? Microsoft had their event on Wednesday, Thursday? I don't know. It's
I
all
would
blur.
say, yeah. I'd say Wednesday.
Okay, yeah. Pretty sure it was Wednesday. So, yeah, just starting out. Look and feel of it, what do you think?
Okay, so look of it, I actually like the frosted glass aesthetic when it comes to some of it, in
Uh-huh.
terms of like various like backdrops instead of just being like hard colors.
Hmm.
But in terms of things like the taskbar, I know you can change it, but I don't like a centered taskbar. Things need just be muscle memory for me to flip to, so I don't really think about it. That's my personal take on the taskbar. I do also appreciate that Cortana is gone. So
Yes.
I don't know how many times it's accidentally clicked on her and it's just a mess.
Hmm.
Yeah. But what are your initial thoughts when it comes to the new look and feel of Windows?
Like, just obviously the big thing is like the center taskbar. That's what everyone's talking about, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually don't mind the center taskbar. There's a good chance I'll just change it back anyway to the left and everything, which you
Mm-hmm.
need an activated Windows license key to do. By the way, they locked that out behind it. I shit you not. Wait, what's the rating for this podcast?
It's not for kids.
Okay, good.
We're
Um,
fine. We're
okay,
fine.
yeah. So although I'm starting to see a trend a little bit for things to be like centered in the UI a little bit more and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. Among like other things and whatnot. I know it's like things were off to the side. It was a clean experience, but then it was just like center of vision and everything. I think a lot of this has to do with kind of like mobile format and everything. You know, it's like working
Yeah.
on Culture of Gaming as a website anymore, every like all the time and whatnot. All of our ad partners always recommended us, hey, you should have it so just like essentially there's like a third of the screen in the center that's a column of all
Mm-hmm.
your content and everything. You have ads on both sides and whatnot, stuff like that, but yeah, just make everything nice and centered. So that's definitely a design trend that's slowly starting to catch on in like larger apps and operating systems and whatnot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
um Brave browser, which is something that I use, which I'm trying to like switch to as my daily driving browser now and everything,
Mm-hmm.
by default comes with a centered URL bar. So I don't know, it's like having the centered taskbar in Windows 11, having like the URL at the center in Brave browser might not be a bad look. In terms of
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, it's like the whole like frosted glass aesthetic too. It's like it does look really nice. It's definitely designed with two-in-one tablets in mind and everything. You know, Windows
Yeah.
tablets in mind. So
Most
like
definitely.
definitely their Surface lineup of stuff. And I think it looks good. It'll function good for it and everything, you know. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Although on a desktop, I couldn't care less, honestly.
I mean that's fair. When
Yeah.
it comes to like looking at what's going on, you're not going to spend a lot of time looking at your UI as much as interacting with other things. Uh,
Yeah.
but I do enjoy like a nice simplistic minimalist design. Uh, the frosted glass is nice in it. I'm definitely going to move over and set it to default so it's just strapped to the left, like how Windows 10 is. I just find it
Hmm.
simpler, keeps it a little bit more organized.
Yeah.
But one thing interesting though, I think they price dropped the Windows 10, saying it's going to be or my bad, saying that Windows 11 is going to be same as Windows 10, if I remember correctly. And
Yes, and then also I believe it's going to be a whole free upgrade thing again too, where if you have Windows
exactly.
10, it'll go to Windows 11. Windows 11 coming out this holiday season. It'll be the exact same like upgrade thing from like Windows 7 or Windows 8 to Windows 10 and
Yeah.
whatnot.
So yeah, it's going to be a free upgrade for those who have Windows 10, and obviously they're going to make it the same price, so people just don't buy Windows 10 and upgrade for free. Like
Hmm.
it's just like it's a common sense business decision there when it comes to it.
Yes.
But
And then, you know, that of course comes at the exchange of giving up your privacy to Microsoft. But yeah,
that is true.
but
One
Linux
thing
always exists. So,
is true. One thing also is to note that so with Xbox right now, they have a built-in, HDR feature where they'll turn non-HDR content into HDR content. They are now
mhm.
bringing that to Windows so that whatever you do, you can have that HDR experience.
Okay.
Have you ever tested that when it comes to the Xbox or anything like that?
No, honestly. So it's like, so my monitor that I use for gaming, because, you know, I primarily PC game, obviously, is LG's 27GL 850. And,
Hell of
you
a
know,
name.
yeah, as
Hell of
like,
a name.
and as Linus Tech Tips likes to put it and everything, it's what's described as an HDR not monitor, which means
Yeah.
it'll technically like allow you to turn on HDR10 and whatnot. And it says
Hmm.
it's HDR certified, but its peak brightness is only like 350 nits, which is below the minimum like brightness spec of HDR10, which is 500 nits peak brightness.
Yeah.
So I haven't really played around with it and everything. I noticed that it's like whenever it'll just like kick on automatically if I ever launch a game for the first time and
Yeah.
won't like haven't like configured like graphics options yet to turn it off, display options, turn it off. It does make things look really, really washed out. So hopefully, just overall, the implementation of Windows 11, both in the operating system and when running apps, will be a lot better and everything.
Yeah,
Because like you can just have it on, like turn it on in like Windows, and it's just like your everything looks washed out, especially like File Explorer and whatnot.
oh yeah, it's super because it's trying to adjust for a range that most monitors don't have. So it's
Mhm.
really easy just to have it try to stream something that's just not capable of doing to a device that's just not registered for. But hopefully, as the technology progresses, HDR becomes more of a standard in just everyday monitors, like how 4K has become more of a standard now.
Right, exactly. Um, yeah, although, okay, so I guess speaking of that and everything, what was I gonna say about look and feel of Windows 11? I could,
Android apps.
okay, no, I could honestly care less how it looks, but apparently we're getting performance improvements. When people have been
Yes.
mentioning like performance improvements, I could care less how it looks. I just want a functional search and file explorer. Honestly, that's my biggest wish.
They had yeah, in Windows 10 they've changed the file explorer, so now it's like it defaults to quick access, and I hate it.
Hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
I don't know why it's done that. It's taken away the little search bar on the side, and it's
Mhm.
like I have to go to several different things before I can actually get there, instead of just defaulting it to like this PC or something like it should be.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Very
Oh,
annoying. Please fix.
yeah.
Or at the very least, allow us to change.
Yeah, allow us to give us
Like have an option be like default view file explorer.
give us the option for that customizability. After all, that's
Yeah.
what PCs are for.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice to see Windows 11 be a little bit more customizable than it is right now. I guess
know
on
we're
the surface customizable, because I mean, you can do some like batshit things with like the registry modification and all sorts of different programs and whatnot.
that's true.
But
You can go
I mean,
pretty
just,
ham
like,
with it.
built-in like options would be nice.
Normie level.
Yeah, exactly.
Tier 1 iceberg.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
speaking of like normie options too, have you seen the whole little like split window management system that they have in it?
yes. I have
Yes, that is
seen
nice to
that.
have built in. Although I hate to be that guy, but there is a program that already does it. I forget what it's called. If you have an ultra wide monitor, you're probably very, very familiar with it right
I
now.
believe
but-
it's this that you're talking about. This built-in split for stuff like browsers and different
Yeah.
programs. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the little option menu. You can say it's like, hey, I want this like to the left, and then pull up something up. It'll go to the right, and it has a bunch of pre-configured options, and you can make your own options too, which is pretty cool. But yeah, and as I said, if you've really been searching for that functionality, you're probably already familiar with the program that I'm thinking of that does it, which I
Yeah.
forget the name of, but I know it's a thing.
Linux.
No, it's not even a Linux thing. It's like a Windows app. It's an open source thing, Windows source program.
Yeah. But with that, I know you were wanting to talk about the Android apps on Windows, and I wanted
God,
to hear
yeah.
what you said because you were wanting
Okay.
to save it.
God, very much so. I've seen like all sorts of tech influencers say, "Hey, runs Android apps and everything." Well, yes, kind of. Will it run natively Android apps? Yes, and everything. But there's a few different caveats and everything. It's Android apps that are on the Amazon Android store, which is possibly the most annoying implementation they could have done and everything.
Yeah.
Like, Microsoft has been teaming up with Samsung lately and whatnot.
Mhm.
It's like because Samsung phones have the whole like link to Windows stuff like that, and it's been good to see. And Samsung phones have like Microsoft Office stuff like that. It's been cool to see that partnership grow and develop over the years. I don't understand why Microsoft wouldn't have just done it with like Samsung's Galaxy App Store for starters. But two, if they were going to go this implementation, but two, I would have much rather seen like Windows 10 just have a Microsoft built native emulator for Android apps. So you could it's like just sideload APKs into it and stuff like that for
Yeah.
whatever. And I understand that it's like BlueStats exists and everything. I have used BlueStats. However, BlueStats, the most popular like Android emulator, I would say for desktop stuff and whatnot, has had its fair share of issues of vulnerabilities over the years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would have much rather preferred to see.
The Samsung
Would have much rather
integration.
preferred. Yeah, the Samsung integration, or at the very least, just an emulator built
See-
into Windows 11. But I guess this is okay. I guess if you really want to watch TikTok on your desktop. I don't
It,
know.
it gets the job done.
Yeah.
But that would also require Samsung agreeing to doing that.
Right, which
So.
they could have just said, no, we think the idea is stupid, which is fair.
And to be fair, they could have said that behind closed doors.
Yeah.
That is always a possibility.
Yeah, we don't quite know why they didn't go with Samsung, but it's whatever, I guess. I'll still continue to use BlueStacks to emulate Android stuff and whatnot, even in Windows 11, unfortunately. So
They've also upgraded the requirements to go along with Windows 11 as well. I've heard it's something akin to at least like a 2 or 4 core processor, something like that. 4 gigabytes of RAM and a 64 gigabytes of memory on a hard drive for the operating system. Yeah, storage.
Okay, well, okay, so speaking of like storage and everything, I really hope that Windows 11 kind of combats like the OS install bloat and everything, like over time and whatnot, because it's just like it used to be that it's like you could probably run a 256 gig SSD for like Windows 10, just have that as your OS drive, and it was like a cheap, fast solution for it. But now it's just like over time the operating system gets so bloated, not even necessarily with like stuff like pictures and like videos you've saved and whatnot, but just various things Microsoft is putting into it, just kind of growing over time as you keep using the operating system. So hopefully Windows 11 kind of combats that a little bit more.
Yeah, so this is specifically there, thanks to Tom's guide. It's specifically a CPU capable of 1 gigahertz or faster with 2 or more cores, compatible with 64-bit processors. So they're just going straight 64-bit. 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigabytes of storage or larger. System firmware, UEFI, and secure boot capable. I've heard that this one is like the most controversial out of all of them.
Hello?
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay.
You're the one who dropped out.
Yeah, I noticed my little thing drop for a moment. But UEFI and secure boot capable. I've heard this has been the most controversial about the required specs, because most things don't have that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, a lot of the like kind of like older consumer grade like laptops and everything and whatnot that might otherwise fit these requirements are going to lose out on this and everything, just because this is something that a manufacturer like Dell or something would have done their own implementation of to make up for not having before and still get the same functionality out of. So if they are making that a like requirement, then that will stop a lot of people on like consumer grade systems from upgrading to Windows 11. Although there's a good chance if you have a custom built PC that's probably post 2011, you're probably good.
At least within the past 5 years for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. So it's like this is not something I'd be worrying too much about unless you have an incredibly old custom built system, or your primary thing is like a Dell workstation or something pre-built. So yeah.
With it, you also have to have a display or a graphics card compatible with DirectX 12 or later with WDDM 2.0 drivers. I think I remember them announcing DirectX 12X or 12, like a variation of
12.1, I think.
12.1, which is going to be a nice upgrade. Hopefully, it works pretty well on that front and people can take use of it. We also require a display having HD 720p or greater, display with greater than 9 inches diagonally, and an 8-bit per color channel.
The Nintendo Switch should not run Windows 11.
No, it couldn't, sadly.
For what it's worth.
Pro, though. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And when coming to upgrade to Windows 11, in terms of, you can check to see if your computer is capable of it. With it, it will throw you a random error message if you do not have one of these requirements. Most likely it may be secure boot or UEFI. Then it'll throw you an error, I've heard, that just says it's not compatible, and it won't tell you what the issue is. So
okay.
Yeah, so that's gonna be a fun one. Someone's gonna build a tool for that to help people.
Apparently there is a tool going around right now that's officially like from Microsoft to like already check compatibility, but it is partially broken. So yeah. It'll say people with like an i9 9900K are not compatible with Windows 11 for whatever reason. So
good.
All the Intel just fanboys just getting
pretty much
BTFO'd.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that mainly covers it for Windows and our initial impressions. We can't really get to like too many thoughts without diving into it, but I think that
Right.
covers it pretty well for what we're able to do.
Yeah, again, all I said, I just want a functional file explorer and Windows search. That's all I want. I don't really care about anything else.
Their file explorer works just fine the way it is right now, outside the initial like quick access being the default thing. I wish they had the bar back on the side. The other thing is in terms of with just a search access, like the little search bar on Windows is ass at best.
Yeah. It's not great.
I cannot search
Please
for
fix.
basic programs I want to load that I access on a regular basis. It's like, come on, Windows, do something. At least allow me to snap it to my like to the start bar or whatever it is that when you pop up the windows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it just won't, like, for Resolve, what we use to edit, it won't allow you to won't allow you to snap that to the bar there.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Chloe. I see her in the background. People can't see her, but I can see her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but I think that covers for Windows. So let's move on to our next topic here, Fidelity FX. Another big announcement this week. Pull that up. There we go.
Okay.
With it, Fidelity FX has been, covered by just about everybody who's capable of covering it. So, have you looked into it at all?
A little bit. Outside of AMD branded DLSS, that's like essentially open source. I guess it's cool. I don't know.
I'm trying to pull up the AMD page for it. Yep, there we go. So with it, like you've said, is pretty much DLSS but rebranded for AMD. But it is open source, so people can take it in and tweak it as they wish, because AMD has a commitment to open source and try to help the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And it is also compatible with like old cards in terms of like 1080 4000 series from AMD, or like the 10 or the 1000 series from Nvidia is what I meant on that part.
Okay.
But yeah, like it works. It just
I mean, so
works.
is DLSS technically. Like, you can run DLSS on the 10 series. It might not run great, but oh wait, no, I'm thinking of like ray tracing. You can force it. Yeah.
You can force ray tracing, but
Yeah,
DLSS
you can't do
is
DLSS.
locked.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
DLSS is locked to the 20 series and forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's definitely been interesting to see this one play out. It's the graphs when it comes to viewing it as well is also super linear. Like in terms of the highest quality, performance, and high performance, it's basically a straight line. You just choose which frame rates you want, and it works.
It just works.
It just works. Which
if a company ever tells you it just works, it doesn't actually just work. Sorry.
But with it, AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution can be implemented in a matter of a day or two, from what developers have said. And they've also said it just works.
Right, which I don't know, that aspect is, as much as we're joking about it, is kind of nice to have, just because like pretty much every game is going to like have it, and not necessarily, if it's so easy to implement and everything, pretty much every game will just have it on PC and whatnot. You might see some consoles games not have it, which leads into another point I'm sure you're going to make, but it's like it'll work on Xbox One, which is cool.
Which has also been announced as well, that it's been added to Microsoft's GDK, so it's supported on Xbox One, which I think is amazing. It will expand the life of that console by who knows how long.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so what I was saying though is basically, not every developer will implement like DLSS or ray tracing, but probably every developer will try and implement Fidelity FX, especially if the studio is any decent size and whatnot. Because I mean, you might as well at this point,
I wonder how easy it is to bake this into like an engine, for example. Like, could UE5 just put it into their engine and make it like a switch?
I'm sure they could. Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool. Make it easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, like quoting some people, and when it comes to it, says our studio's vision is to create games unlike anything experienced before, fusing the world's latest technologies with art, implementing cutting-edge AMD technology in the development of Forspoken. That's a weird word. Forspoken is an embodiment of that philosophy. With Forspoken, we are aiming to achieve the highest quality visuals ever seen in an open world game. High frame rates at 4K is important to provide the best possible experience when playing Forspoken, but very precise optimization is required to achieve this. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution provides a significant performance boost when running Forspoken at 4K and 60 FPS. FSR is an ideal upscaling solution to upscaling to its compatibility with various platforms and its extremely fast processing speeds, which I think is important as well. It's like it takes up like no bandwidth at all to get this
Yeah.
up and running.
Yeah.
For the development of Forspoken, we are really feeling the benefits of the low latency FSR and the high performance that it brings. FSR's implementing only took 1 day. The process was very simple and fit in our pipeline very well. From an image quality standpoint, the difference between the highest quality settings and native resolution rendering is undetectable. FSR integration was very easy and there were no problems, even when using dynamic resolutions. I believe AMD's GPU open philosophy is raising the entire gaming industry's technical standards, which in turn benefits all players. We can't wait for players to get their hands on Forspoken and experience the next-gen graphics that were made possible by FSR.
Yeah, so on a couple things there, just on what you were talking about. So it's like, while it's like NVIDIA might be known for a little bit more, like, I just would describe it as like premium features, where, maybe DLSS might look a little bit better than, what Fidelity FX or whatever. Although, looking at the images, it's hard for me to, like, kind of see a difference between, like, DLSS versus Fidelity FX. So it's like the image quality with AMD is on par. It is nice that AMD is, like, going the sort of open source route, where it's like, it's like a rising tide lifts all boats. So, it's only benefits the industry as a whole. And it's like, well, NVIDIA's implementations might look better or be a little bit more premium. They are, of course, locked behind having a team green graphics card, which not everyone either A, wants to do because some moral obligation or something, I don't know, or B, it's just like it's what's available at the time and you wanted to upgrade, So, yeah. And then the second point I was going to make, too, is just like, it is nice that we're seeing these sort of like on the graphics level, like from the graphics manufacturer, everything, these sort of like performance improvements or like performance and shortcuts that developers can use, because that only makes like bigger and better worlds and whatnot that developers can use without the performance hit, So it's like allows us to use the current technology, existing technology, a lot better. Hardware, I should say.
Yeah, the existing hardware, because we all know that quote unquote chip shortage, more supply issue or demand issue. My bad. With it, that it's not possible for most people to upgrade their cards right now, so it's might as well do what we can to improve what we have right now. And this is a perfect example of just, hey, we want every gamer to take what they have currently and play the best games they can at the best best resolutions, frame rates, quality, all that stuff. And this is a banger of a solution provided by AMD. Especially when NVIDIA's gone on records multiple times saying we can't, reverse engineer to make it work with the 10 series or even the 9 series back with the back then too. So it's nice to see a solution provided that just works.
Yeah, I mean, what that means, like, NVIDIA just became too reliant on their Tensor cores for the processing of DLSS, so which is why they locked that out.
Yeah, the Tensor cores have been a massive factor into that for NVIDIA. But whatever, to each their own.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, good on AMD to do this. So,
and a baller move to get it running on Xbox too. I imagine because AMD has built-in hardware for Xbox and the PlayStation series, so I imagine that they'll incorporate it into the PlayStation as well, PS4, PS5, whatever floats that boat.
Right.
Yeah. But with that, anything else you want to touch on when it comes to this particular topic?
Not really. I think I don't know. Just outside what's been said, it's cool that AMD is doing it, and good on AMD.
Good on AMD. Thumbs up from Tech for Thought.
Good job.
Good job. Good job. All right, and what do we got for our next topic here? This is one that you'll primarily talk about regarding Brave rolling out their own search engine.
Yeah, so as I kind of mentioned when we were talking about Windows 11, talking about like the centered taskbar and everything, Windows 11, so I've been trying to use Brave browser as my daily driver and whatnot. And one of the cool little features about Brave browser is that it has like a centered URL bar. Kind of cleans up the UI a little bit and just kind of made sense too. I don't know, because I was talking about it's like website formats are going to be in that like sort of centered column format too. So it kind of matches it. Anyway, I kind of digress. But yeah, Brave, which bills itself as the Chromium-based privacy browser, and is arguably a little bit better than Firefox in a lot of aspects. Um,
Yeah,
they
I'll admit I use Firefox, but Brave is definitely a good option there.
Yeah, and so Brave, which has always been focused on like privacy, like billing themselves as privacy and everything,
Hmm.
by default, out of the box, search engine is DuckDuckGo, but it looks like it's going to change because Brave is going to be or has acquired this Tailcat, which is a technology company that was working on like a search web crawler
Hmm.
engine sort of thing and whatnot. And it looks like Brave is about ready to launch their own search so that they can break free from DuckDuckGo and they can break free from like Google and everything and just have this as default in their
Well,
browser.
yeah, I
So,
just think it's nice to be able to keep it all in house for them. I know my setup, I have Firefox because it's darn fast. It's definitely, and it takes up a lot less memory than Chrome, that's for
mhm,
sure. With it as
yeah.
well, there is uh, it it just works. But I also have a DuckDuckGo set as my search engine because it's quick, it works, gets the job done without any issues, doesn't filter anything. Uh,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see what Brave's search engine looks like when it's actually officially rolled out. From what I'm hearing here, it's currently in beta right now. So, whoopsie.
hmm It just needs to be better than Bing.
That's basically the bare minimum. From what the
Yeah.
article states here, it says privacy browser Brave, which has been testing its own Brave's brand search engine for several months, operating a waitlist where Brave early adopters could kick the tires and upstart alternatives in internet search.
Yeah.
This feels like a AI generated article.
Right? This is a little bit weird.
Users
I don't know.
interested in checking out Brave's non tracking search engine, which is built on top of an independent index and touted as a privacy safe alternative to surveillance tech produced products like Google Search, will find it via Brave's desktop and mobile browsers. It can also be reached from other browsers via search.brave.com, so does not require switching to Brave browser to use, which is also pretty big there.
hmm
Yeah. And
Yeah.
with it,
So, all
so
right.
just
Anyway.
quick rundown because you're more familiar with privacy than I am on that front.
hmm
What what changes do you think that will be primarily made to make it more privacy secure compared to say the big name like Google?
So definitely, I think the first one is going to be like across the web tracking and everything, stuff like that. Brave is already fairly aggressive with its built-in ad blocker to the point where it'll break some sites actually from stopping. It's like across web tracking and everything. It's like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, have you ever like Google searched, I don't know, a vacuum cleaner or whatever, and then we're on like Facebook later, and then got ads for a vacuum cleaner and whatnot?
Yes.
Then it's like it's gonna work to stop that sort of thing and everything. So it's like cross-site tracking is going to stop stuff like that. Um, Brave doing it with their own search engine is going to allow them a little bit more of a more secure route, or a better way of stopping it than just having it built into their ad blocker, their tracking blocker already in the engine. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a direct combat to Google. What is interesting, the article talks about a little bit, is that, and it's kind of a good point. It's like Apple hasn't tried to like build their own search engine into Safari yet before
That
because
is
it
true.
makes
I
a
haven't thought about
boatload
that.
of money. It makes an absolute boatload of money from Google paying them to keep Google the default search in Safari. So it's kind of interesting to see that Apple, that bills itself as being so privacy focused and whatnot, will still use Google for search engine by default.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and I
definitely
mean you can't change it in Safari on like iOS and like Mac OS, but yeah.
yeah. Now, question is because Google has gone on record saying that when you use a incognito tab, for example, that
Mm,
you will keep the information off of your computer, but Google still records that information. With
mhm.
Brave, for people who don't know, does Brave have something akin to an incognito mode?
Yes, it does, and it works a lot better than
Okay.
Google's incognito mode, to be quite honest. Because it basically like it considers you basically a brand new person
Hmm.
and whatnot. So it's very hard for it to be linked back to your identity. Whereas like if Google stores it in incognito mode, with all their like AI bullshit learning or whatever, I'm sure there's an algorithm somewhere in the skunkworks of Google that's able to link like incognito browsing to a user profile and whatnot, just based on like trends and analysis and everything. And I'm sure they do it. I'm sure they sell it to advertisers and whatnot, you know? So yeah, Brave basically just considers you a new person, and I believe it's fairly new, no log also.
Yeah.
So it's like Brave doesn't even retain a record of what you're doing.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. So that if you're looking for a privacy
Oh, I should also
option,
add on so Brave has like new private window and everything, which is what they call like incognito mode and everything. But they also allow, and this is built into the browser, you don't have to do any modification for it. It allows you to do a new private window with Tor. So they basically launched the Tor browser into the private window. So if you do know how to use Tor, you can just go right there.
So Tor's built right into the browser?
Yes.
Nice.
Although you do have to make sure you do know how to use Tor, or else you actually end up more exposed than you would otherwise.
I mean,
but I mean, if you are a Tor user and maybe looking to consolidate stuff a little bit, then Brave might be the way to go, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely a great option. Not sponsored. But if you want alternatives to help keep your privacy going, that would definitely be a good one there for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that covers everything related to Brave. I can we search it right now? Can I find the website? Search.brave.com. Is it live? Oh, it is live. Nice.
Yeah. Search the privacy. And if I go into the settings for Brave browser and whatnot,
I don't have Brave browser, so I can't.
Oh no, I'm saying it's like if I can go into it and everything.
That's a clean night mode.
Yeah, you can check. You can the search engine. You can use Brave's own search engine.
Global results independence, 87%.
Yeah. So yeah, in the settings for Brave browser, you can do like the default search engine. You know, the things that'll like search for you in the address bar. You can already use Brave Search Beta. So it's pretty cool. You know, switch to it.
That's pretty quick.
That's not bad looking.
No, it's actually pretty clean. I like it. A little bit of refinement, but I think it's a solid foundation.
Built-in dark mode is a plus.
Yes, that is really a plus, and that was super. I also love that they put it at the top to make it super easy to access. Because there's like some of them where you just have to like dive into 3 or 4 different menus to find the night mode, and it's just like, just make it easy. Either do it by default or just make it super easily accessible.
Like that. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be cool to see this develop and start competing. Again, all it has to be is better than Bing. Okay, that's really all it has to be, and
it's
be good.
Also like super quick right now. Probably from not many people using it, but
right. I mean, Brave itself is a pretty quick browser. So would we like to move on before we shill for Brave any harder?
We'll do a separate video for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But for the next topic, let's pull that up here and see what it is. Ah, yes. Micro Center. So they made an oopsie earlier this week.
One way of describing it.
That's one way, yeah. For those who don't know, Micro Center has a page where they can give you information about how to select the best GPUs, CPUs, motherboards, storage devices, all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they, like, whoever wrote the section about GPUs obviously had no idea what they were talking about.
Obviously on NVIDIA's payroll.
That's like some 5-digit numbers there for that check. To quote specifically what this said, typically AMD graphics cards are more affordable, but can require but can require some modifications or regular maintenance to keep working as intended. On the other hand, NVIDIA graphics...
any graphics card kind of might need that. I don't know. It's like, you need to like dust it out. You need to update its drivers, to keep it going properly.
How do you modify a graphics card?
You can cut off part of the I/O shield on it to make it fit. I don't know.
Punch a hole in the PCB.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. But on the other hand, NVIDIA graphics cards function much like video game consoles and essentially work in a plug-and-play fashion. The case the case of use and stability of NVIDIA GPUs have made them the most popular choice among gamers and streamers. NVIDIA cards also support ray tracing and DLSS, which work together to provide gamers the highest quality graphics possible without sacrificing frame rates. Okay, so ray tracing DLSS, I'll give them that. I don't remember.
I mean, that's a fair claim. That's a
fair
fair claim.
Fair
Okay.
claim. That's fair. But in terms of like regular maintenance, you could argue, like at most driver updates outside of
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's
actually
like there could
cleaning
have been
it.
an argument if this was like 2014 for like drivers and whatnot.
Yeah.
But nowadays they're pretty like even, and it's like I don't think any company now has major problems with driver updates. For the longest
No.
effing time, I had to like always reset my sound settings after updating NVIDIA's graphics drivers, but now that's no longer the case.
Not
and-
only that, but you had to like go into like every time you had to download it, you had to download it from the website, delete it from your system, then actually install it from there, which can cause issues to say the least.
And there's like this whole program that I've actually had to use at some point that it's like it really cleans up the previous driver and
Yeah.
everything before installing a new one. And I've had to like do it sometimes because I have had some problems with uninstallations.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's called like DDU driver installation or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But luckily,
So.
both companies, AMD and NVIDIA, and maybe soon Intel, they have their drivers now, so that you could just install them from the driver screen itself instead of having to go to a separate program. So they've at least made it a lot easier for the end user to install as needed and upgrade as needed. I know AMD was really good about uninstallations and not bugging up with bloat over time.
Yeah.
I'm still running my first NVIDIA GPU, and it's been less than a year, so I don't exactly know in terms of a time scale how that works. But we'll see.
I'm sorry. What do you mean? Like,
Well, like as you were saying, sometimes you just you have to do something separate to uninstall the previous driver.
oh yeah, yeah. It's
Yes.
usually only if it's like there was an issue during installation, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I haven't had an issue when it comes to the NVIDIA driver just yet. Haven't noticed any necessary bloat, so we'll
Okay.
see how that plays out in the long term.
Mhm.
But like outside of that, like I understand, taking a can of air to your GPU on occasion to get the dust out and
Yeah,
whatnot.
you have to do that with any card.
Yeah, that's like normal like maintenance.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, what are they talking about in terms of maintenance and upkeep? Like, do I need to take my graphics card in, get an oil change done on it, or
It's like a licensed AMD dealer or something to
Yeah,
get the tire rotation. I don't know.
take it to my local micro center for realignment?
Yeah, exactly. I'm still trying to hooked up on the whole like modification thing to modify your AMD card. What? Sorry, what?
I don't know what
Just
they
get,
mean by
let's stick, like an
modification.
aftermarket exhaust on it or something. Do graphics
Exactly.
mods on. Yeah.
Exactly. Slap the decals on it.
Yeah,
Give it
exactly.
some nice racing stripes.
Yeah.
But after a bunch of backlash and whatnot, Microsoft's president and CEO, I'm probably going to butcher the last name, Rick Mershad, issued a public apology. Stated incorrect information pertaining to AMD graphics cards was inadvertently published on our website. This was
That
published.
intern was fired.
That intern was fired quick. This was published without properly vetting the information within, and we deeply apologize for the error. That
Yeah,
person.
that intern was definitely fired.
Yeah. They went on to state that AMD graphics cards offer the top of the tier performance, including ray tracing and AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution. So many words. AMD Fidelity FX Super Resolution, or AMD FSR, for maximum visual performance, as well as easy installation with no upkeep beyond standard driver updates. We are proud partners of AMD and will continue to offer their cards as a premium component for all custom PC builds. That's some recovering right there. Just cleaning up the aftermath.
I know. Oh man, that
was bad. That was really bad. How do you
2012 your argument called like
Yeah.
I bet you that guy is still trying to figure out how to get Mantle working on his AMD card. The guy who wrote that.
You know, he's running I'm trying to think of an old AMD graphics card, like like Fiji. What was before then?
Long, like a 4650 or something like that, I think. I don't know. It was
Searchbrave.com.
AMD graphics cards.
Can't spell.
Here we go. Wikipedia. Yeah, it's probably running like an Radeon HD.
Who can forget the Radeon Pro Duo and the mess that was?
Yeah.
Taking two Fury cards, smashing together, shipping it, and saying good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably running like an Radeon HD 3870 still or whatever, trying to get Mantle working on it, you know?
Yeah. One advice I would offer, though, in terms of like changing the outlay a little, or the display a little bit.
Make that centered.
Well, make it centered and make each thing like individual. Like break it up somehow.
Oh yeah, that's what you mean.
Because it's just kind of like, that's long. There's also nothing going over here yet.
Yeah.
To be fair, I have ad blocker on, which I don't know if causes this area to be blank. But have we shielded?
Beta.
Have we shielded enough for Brave?
I think we have, yeah.
But have we shielded enough for Tech for Thought? Make sure to subscribe. Gotta get it. See, it's weird being a new podcast format on Tech for Thought, actually, because I can't shill as hard for Tech for Thought on other platforms now. It's like
true.
I can't,
yeah.
like I did it all the time on Pass Assault
or on Power Podcast.
Power Podcast. My bad. It's like, but now it's like, if I just say it all the time, I just still like sound like Sapporo Jones. A little reference there.
Hey, interest you in a Subaru.
little reference that few people will probably get. But yeah, so outside of that, they walked back their statement. They've corrected. Micro Center's corrected what they've said. I don't
fired
know
the intern.
Fired the intern. Don't know if it's live on their website just yet, but they're making the correct moves at least.
Yeah.
they're cleaning up in the aftermath.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice job.
Yeah.
But,
oh God.
I just like, how does that one slip by? Because you think like, okay, it's gonna be like how to choose the best graphics card for you. You imagine that has to go through some pretty high level vetting.
So much. It probably.
Somebody actually hit publish instead of save.
They probably just got someone in like advertising or marketing or whatever, and it's just like to like write it up and whatnot to try and like upsell the Nvidia cards and whatnot, because they are a little bit more expensive and whatnot. And probably someone just gave a short summary to some like the advertising person who doesn't know like any which better, and basically his summary could have looked something like Nvidia often like offers more premium features but costs a little bit more, and then they just spun it as so anyway.
Well, let's move on. I think that's enough of ragging on Micro Center for their small little mistake.
Actually, no way. I don't want to move on. To be entirely, I don't know. To be entirely fair, Fidelity FX was barely a thing, if not a thing yet, that was released when that was written.
Well, okay, it depends on when it was released.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think AMD's ray tracing is as publicly known as Nvidia's ray tracing, because AMD definitely doesn't make a big deal about. Or I'm sorry, yeah, AMD doesn't make as big a deal about it as Nvidia does. So.
They don't scream from the rooftops about it.
No, they don't. So I could understand how someone with low information could have possibly, wrote that, I guess. But at the same time, it's still very shilly for Nvidia, and that intern is definitely fired.
Oh yeah, definitely. But let's move on to something else right now. Let's talk about some comments, because we have some comments that were posted. And I do want to cover them real quick.
On which video?
No, on the stream.
Oh yeah, okay.
We have two comments, which I thank you so much for commenting. We didn't really catch it in real live because Streamlabs is really picky about what it allows you to do while reading comments on a vertical monitor.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Well,
to
I
go,
recognize one of those usernames, so thanks for coming by.
thank you,
Yeah.
Linkachu. With
Yeah.
it, he does state AMD, NVIDIA, real gamers use embedded graphics.
I mean, in today's day and age,
Look,
yes.
Look, all you need is embedded graphics to run those 2D platformer indie games.
Exactly. Right. It's like,
The
we'll run most of
trifecta.
the indie title section on
Yeah,
Steam,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Uh,
nice. But yeah,
Justin Halen says Microsoft's site says Windows 11 only supported on laptops with 8th gen Intel 2018 or Ryzen 3000 APUs 2019 or later. Is that accurate? As far as I'm aware, no. Because wow, that would be super duper. That would be super duper like time dating.
I'm pulling
they're-
up their website right now so I could take a look.
The way that I currently understand it is like Microsoft like saying which devices aren't compatible is currently somewhat broken both with the tool and their public statements about it. Because in the sort of like spec list we were reading earlier about what can run Microsoft Windows 11, there was nothing that would indicate it would require an 8th gen or higher Intel CPU or Ryzen 3000 or higher APUs at least. So, however, one thing that I predict possibly being an issue though is going to be actually never mind, it's a moot point. Yeah,
It's all good.
honestly a moot point. Yeah.
But with it, I pulled up their page again so we can go over it and try to track down where that was stated to be. Because I am not seeing it on
Because
their
I mean, okay, you're on
page.
Microsoft's site right now. Hardware requirements right there.
Yeah, hardware
it doesn't say
requirements.
anything about.
So I guess it could be depending on like the quality of the cheap or the CPU that was used in those laptops. Because if it's something that's doesn't have multiple cores, then it's just not going to be able to run it because there's still some laptops being built with like one core, which is weird. Also 4 gigabytes, which can rule out some laptops. Yeah, but
On compatible processor section.
yeah, compatible processor section. Okay,
Try and find it.
compatible processors. Where would I find that at? You know what?
I think it might be on the same page. I don't know.
I know I'm scrolling down. It's like feature specific requirements, and that's the end of the page.
Okay.
So, do you have a specific page for it, perchance? I would love to take a look at it.
Okay, PC Gamer is saying AMD and Intel processors from before late 2017 are absent from the list, but Microsoft CPU requirements for Windows 11 may not be as strict as they seem. So this article from a PC Mad, sorry, not PC Gamer, I'll post it in the chat there, says if you own a laptop that's more than 4 years old, Microsoft thinks your PC shouldn't run Windows 11. The company has released a list of CPUs that will officially support Windows 11, and it suggests that AMD and Intel processors launched before late 2017 won't support the OS. The requirement is already angering consumers. Before you join in, there's some evidence the CPU requirement may be easy to bypass. For Intel Core products, Microsoft says Windows 11 should only run on processors starting with the Coffee Lake family, which arrived in October 2017.
Can you drop that in the doc real quick so I could pull it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
I put it in chat, but sure.
Oh, I didn't notice it was in chat.
Yeah, it's in the doc too at the bottom.
Cool.
Anyway, so
works.
for AMD, the Windows 11 support starts with the Ryzen 2000 series, which launched in 2018. The first-gen Ryzen CPUs from the years before are conspicuously left out. The CPU requirements were underscored on Friday when Microsoft released a new version of its PC Health Check app. The software has been updated to tell you why a laptop or desktop can't run Windows 11 if the hardware fails.
They have
the
changed
compatibility
it.
test. Yeah. We ran the app on a Dell XPS 13. I bought a mere 4 years ago. Surprisingly, the laptop failed to pass the Windows 11 compatibility test. The reason? The Intel dual-core i5-7200U chip, which launched in 2016, is apparently too old. Microsoft announced the system requirements for Windows 11 during Thursday's big reveal, but at the time, it was unclear if the CPU requirements applied to only upcoming PC systems from hardware manufacturers or if it extended to existing laptops and desktops. The same system requirements also say a dual-core compatible 64-bit processor with a 1 GHz clock speed is enough to run Windows 11. That left us with hope older machines could run the OS. But on Friday, Microsoft Vice President Steve Dispenza indicated the CPU requirements apply to all PC hardware. No, Windows 11 has more specific CPU requirements than just dual-core 1 GHz and up. Oh, okay. Then they need to update that page to reflect that then.
Yeah. So this is,
Okay.
I guess this is just internal conflict about what's going on, and Windows and Microsoft just needs to figure out what they're talking about.
They need
Because-
to make it more clear what will and won't and everything.
Yeah.
Because although we did make the point earlier that this will rule out pretty old, like older consumer grade systems, which is true. Also.
And to be fair,
And, like,
2016 was 5 years ago. Which is pretty long in terms of like the tech world.
yeah, but I mean, also at the same time, also this is kind of shitty just because people still run like an i7 2700K,
You got me there. But at
an
like
old Ivy Bridge, yeah, and it's still great.
yeah, that's true. People still do run it. Pull up
The Ryzen Mobile 2000 is based off first gen Ryzen desktop, so it's not compatible either.
That would
Oof.
make sense because
Yeah.
Ryzen would, I don't know why AMD had a weird shtick about their laptop based CPUs being 1,000 ahead of their main CPU line. They corrected this in the most recent generation so that they're on par now. So 5,000 is exactly the same. But yeah, like Ryzen Mobile's 2000 series is technically based off the original Ryzen 1000 series. So yeah, it's technically older than it appears to be.
Yeah. Names are hard.
Yeah. Names are tough.
Yeah.
But they've corrected it so that they're now streamlined it, and it's same generation with the beginning number. So made it easier.
Also, you have until 2025 to upgrade your system to be compatible with Windows 11 before Windows 10 support drops.
That's true. Well, with that, Windows 10 will have the second longest operating span of any operating system given by Microsoft. Windows 7 obviously being the long contender for just a bit over 10 years, and Windows 10 will fall just a little bit, like a month or two short of it.
Yeah.
Which 10 years for an operating system is a pretty long time.
Well, we've been using Windows 10 for like 6 years in July now.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah, that's
yeah, I don't know, Joe. So it's like that's good clarification. Microsoft needs to definitely update their website to reflect that, you know.
If Microsoft does update it, we'll make sure to bring that up in the future.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit more clear on that front.
Mhm.
But yeah, that does it for the comments. Do thank you, Justin and Linkachu, for commenting there, showing a little bit of support. Do appreciate it. With that, I think that mainly wraps it up for the. Oh, I actually smacked my mic there, and I saw it's the spike. That does it for the main content in terms of the news and reading your comments. And I don't know. Did you want to do water cooler? We're just talking right now.
I mean, do you have anything like in general to bring up, or?
Nah, mainly outside of
Okay.
like what we're gonna work on this next week in terms of topics for videos, get them a little sneak peek and that type of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. All right,
mean-
so sneak peek of upcoming videos this week, at least for mine. My video plans on being a sort of like a VPN focused video and whatnot. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So yours can be mainly focused around VPNs. You've already kind of have a little bit of experience with this and testing various different ones and getting them set up for various people, as well as just a general overview in privacy, having a degree in what is it specifically? Computer
Informatics.
Informatics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like comp sci mixed with data science and everything. So
So you know how that stuff works. If there's anybody qualified out of the people who help with tech for that, it's you.
thank you.
And for me, I don't know what I'm gonna do just yet. I've thought about doing a video where I would just basically like a direct letter type video to NVIDIA, just going over their issues, how I want to see it fixed, and what they can do and that type of stuff. Because I'll be honest,
As an AMD fanboy,
I am running a 2070 Super right now.
I know.
I have no skin in the game outside of AMD's just doing a better job.
Fair.
But it's more like NVIDIA, if they're doing this, why can't you do that type thing? And it's like, come on, step up your game. Because I enjoy competition in the space in terms of like it makes it better for everybody, better products, better services, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe hopefully Intel will one day get their skin in the game with a graphics card that is actually decent. I know their
I would
Iris
say-
graphics have been pretty good though, from what I see in terms of built-in graphics. But the built-in graphics is literally the exact same as their external GPU, and it's just kind of like, why do it that way?
It's like right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought about, going over videos of like NVIDIA issues, issues I've had with NVIDIA, what I want to see them fix in that regards and things like that.
I will say one last comment about AMD is like it's nice that they are finally kind of breaking the cycle of like being strong in one sector and then like suffering in another. So it's like,
Yeah.
for years it's like they got really with Ryzen they got really strong in their processor sector
Hmm.
obviously, but then it's like, their graphics department kind of took a
Yeah.
downhill dive for a while there. But now it's like the graphics sector is finally starting to pick up again over at AMD, and definitely Ryzen is not going anywhere. So
Definitely not. Uh,
yeah.
yeah, with it as I know with AMD, it's kind of like how Microsoft has this cycle as well, where they'll make a good operating system, a bad one, and then just repeat that good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. You know, Windows 7, there was Windows 8, there's Windows 10, and then hopefully now they're going to break it with Windows 11 being a good operating system.
I think Windows 11 is such like a linear upgrade
Yeah,
over
it's definitely
Windows 10, and it's like so heavily based on Windows 10 that it would be incredibly hard to fuck up. But
look, they made Windows 8. Let's be honest here. Also, I saw like XP was also extremely disliked as well. The general consensus is that people did not like Windows XP.
I mean, really?
It was either XP or Vista.
You're thinking of Vista because XP is still beloved by so many people.
Okay, it was probably Vista. But that
But Windows 98 was the best OS.
Windows was the best OS.
DOS.
Oh, stop. I have to work. I literally work with that program, and it's not okay. It's not okay.
The entire Game of Thrones series has been written on a DOS computer.
I don't doubt it in the slightest. But yeah, I think that does it. Kind of what we're going to do with this upcoming week. Make sure to subscribe to get those videos when they come out. Just doing those little housekeeping stuff. You also check out our Twitter, which you can see in the bottom right there, tech_4_thought, to be able to find out when we do stuff, when things are posted, and things like that. We'd really love if you follow there, as well as, if you want to tweet at us, we'll be more than happy to tweet back at you, as well as to respond in our comments, try to get a little bit more activity in our small community.
Get that engagement up.
Get that engagement going. That's what I want to see. But as for our affiliate, cultureofgaming.com, as usual, if you want the latest gaming news, opinions, and reviews, that would be the place to go. Oh, Taylor, I thought you said something, but you turned around.
Yeah.
But if you, like I said, we're trying to get that site back up and running, especially with Taylor here being at the helm of it now. So expect a lot more content on that front being pushed out.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And as for ourselves individually, Taylor, where can the good people find you?
Primarily on Twitter. That's the only social media I ever pay attention to or I'm on, really. So follow me there at Infurious7809. That is at INFERIUS7809. And I mostly try and keep it kind of anime related stuff over there, but kind of what I follow. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. And you can find me at Filmed by G-Man. With it, they didn't have G-Man Films, which is my usual tag, which I've had since the Let's Play days of YouTube, because I reserved that if I ever wanted to do that stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Glorious times. You could go outside whenever you wanted.
Simpler times, I swear. But yeah, if you want to find me, at Filmed by G-Man or at our Tech for Thought Twitter, you can just message us there. I mean, all of us have access to it. So yeah, keep the good times rolling there. I think that does it for this first podcast of
Well,
Pass
thank you all
Assault.
so much for tuning in. That was
Yeah.
great that we got that little bit of engagement from the chat there and
Yeah,
whatnot. So
most definitely.
great little bit of support from the very get-go. So that's awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Do apologize we couldn't get to those comments earlier, but hey, we got them at the end there for you. With that, we will see you guys next time.